So do you know the difference between curating versus collecting?
I don't.
Let's talk about it.
All right.
Welcome to the Strong Like a Mother podcast with Cherie.
And Jada. We're doing your best. Doesn't mean you have to be perfect.
So this kind of has come up in like theming in my life lately, but I've been big on just kind of curating my life.
Okay.
Do you ever feel like, sometimes you just are making decisions without that bigger picture kind of coming in and going like, is this really helping me to get to like the end goal, whatever that is?
Yeah, I think some decisions have been pretty spastic on my end. And then I think about why did I say yes to this? Why did I make this decision? Mm-hmm. So, and maybe slowing down, making more intentional thought processes in those yes moments when maybe they should be no moments.
Yeah.
A little bit better. I'm working on that because I've lost a lot of valuable time in saying yes to things I had no business.
Yeah. I'm such a yes person because I want to do it all and I think I can do it all until I look at my schedule and I'm like, wow. I mean, I have felt very jam-packed in the last few weeks and months, really. So it's kind of one of those things that I've had to be a little more conscious about recently and going, if I say yes to this, I have to say no to something that's already on my schedule because that is how tight my schedule has been recently. So it's come up a lot of, am I curating my life in a way that serves me best? So it's been a little more top of mind, I think, for me recently. But I would love to know, like, what are some things that you feel like you do in your life that you're, like, those conscious decisions that you're like, oh, yeah, I'm curating my best life or my best family's life, or, do you have things that you're like, we consciously do those things because it absolutely makes life better?
I think time, of course, time with my kids, sometimes that has to be sacrificed for something else. Money, for sure, to decide, is this worth it versus something else? So one of those things definitely in the recent years and just growing up, that would I rather buy certain things or would I rather have certain experiences? And one of those things I told my husband was, instead of giving me gifts for my birthday, I would prefer to create a memory. Yeah. I prefer going on date nights with my husband, going on trips with my kids, than getting things. I can buy myself stuff anytime. I don't have to wait for a special occasion to buy those things.
Yeah.
But those memories, you can't buy them.
Yeah. That's so true. And I was at lunch yesterday with a couple of friends and we talked about this, that it was, you can go out and you can buy a really expensive designer bag, or you can go buy, a new wardrobe or a new car or whatever it is that, that you are wanting. But I've also feel the same, that in the really since Levi has gotten old enough to kind of travel a little bit better, it's hard to travel with babies,
Done it.
Yeah, been there, done that. Can't say I really enjoyed it, but now that he's older, it is a lot more enjoyable, and we've kind of just prioritized traveling. And I've definitely gotten comments from friends and family. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you'll travel so much," but we also, not every trip is a budget trip. Like, that's just impossible. But we do travel pretty well. Like, we're really blessed that sometimes we have family that invite us to go on trips, and it's a very low cost trip for us. But even just the vacation time, like, I'm blessed to work for myself. So in theory, I guess I could take vacation whenever I wanted. Well, it doesn't really work quite like that. Ultimately, I don't ever say, oh, I'm only taking 2 weeks of vacation a year. That never happens. I definitely always take more than that.
Right.
But even Dustin having, he works a very regular 9 to 5 type of job, and he's got, so much vacation time. So even just choosing those things wisely, but it is definitely a very conscious decision of, we drive nice cars. I'm not even gonna say decent. We drive nice cars, but like we don't go out. Like I don't drive a BMW. I don't drive like a luxury type of vehicle. We're working to pay those vehicles off because it then gives us the freedom to do more of what we want to do and to make those choices to curate life the way that we want life to look. So that's definitely been some of those things that we've done in the last few years of like, we could cut this out or we could cut that out. But I love the date night thing too. We get on a good kick where it's like once or twice a month we'll go on a date night and then life hits.
Yeah.
And I think the last few months between the holidays and then the start of the year is always kind of crazy. And then we typically usually vacation in January. So I feel like we've kind of slacked on the date nights, but that's a really good, and I think that's a really important
Oh, it is.
choice.
Well, that is one of those decisions that we made. We forgot for a little bit in being new parents for, it felt like a decade, but that's one of those things we curate into our lives is that it is important that I don't care how long we've been married, we will continue to date each other.
Yeah.
Because it's funny, we went, I think, to a Christmas party or something, and we had to stay a night at a hotel, and he was like, I really enjoy hanging out with you. And I'm like, I really enjoy hanging out with you. And to be able to kind of say that,
Yeah.
we make time for each other outside of our kids.
Yeah.
And that's important. And then our time with our kids is also important to make sure that time is special.
Yeah.
And like last night we watched a movie. The two younger girls, it wasn't their cup of tea. It was a Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm.
Our oldest, that's her thing. And she's a teenager. She doesn't want to be bothered with us 99.9% of the time. But she hung out. She watched the movie with us. And that is an important thing, to make time for her in the things that she likes. Meet her where she's at sometimes. And that's great. And we do the things with the other girls too.
Yeah.
And that we have those special relationships with them. But what is something you collect versus curate in your life?
Oh, man. Water cups.
Same. Whenever there's a new water cup that comes out, I'm like, oh, man, that's cool. Does it really keep my ice cold?
So it's like, I don't know why it's one of those things. And I know it's not just me because, like, you see it all over TikTok. Like, the husbands making fun of the wives about the water cups. Like, I just got this water cup, actually, before we went to Disney recently, because I was like, all of my water cups, I love a straw, first off. I'm not going to bring my water. I have a lot of reusable straws. If it comes with a straw, that's great too. But I've really been trying to make sure I get enough water, and I 1000% drink way more water when I fix my water cup, So I'm like, I need a water cup that I can bring into the parks with me and that's not going to spill. And so Levi has some of these that I send for school, but it's, the kind where like everything closes up and I'm like, I can just toss it in the bottom of the stroller. That is definitely one of those things that I collect, and like, I will never turn a water cup down. Like when friends give me like branded water cups, whatever, like I'll take it. It doesn't matter the color, because I don't know. It's one of those things that I do. We use them a lot, and so we do go through them. But I've been trying to kind of consciously be more of, curate more things versus collecting things. Like my closet is one of those things that is definitely an area of opportunity for me. Yeah. And I think right now, like I've been on kind of like a health and weight loss journey over the last 5 or 6 months. I mean, really, I feel like most of my life have been, but really consciously in the last 5 or 6 months. And I now have a lot of clothes that don't fit. And it's really forcing me to go, okay, it's really, really time to like go through the closet and just get rid of things, because I have a closet that is totally full and totally overflowing, but 80% of what's in there is not serving me. it's either old and just out of style,
Yeah.
or it doesn't fit. And I've tried to get better as I've gotten older, because weight has always been something in my life that it's yo-yoed back and forth due to like some hormonal issues that I have. And really just going, okay, like it is time in my life to have clothes that fit my body and serve my body in the best way. And thinking about it in that it's made me more intentional when I buy clothes, for sure. But it's time to stop being a collector in my closet and really just clean it out and have, I could probably go down to, truthfully, 25% of what's in my closet as far as items, and have a curated look and have better outfits than having the, I don't even know how many items are in my closet. It's a lot, but it's like, why am I keeping all of this? Something that I have worked on, though, in my closet is my shoes. I used to have a lot of shoes, and I'm like a budget shopper, so like I would go find them on sale at Dillard's. Like, when Dillard's does their once a year, like the racks and
that
racks
gives you
and racks.
permission to buy.
Right? Well, I had a couple of years ago, I had a lot of issues with my feet. I had a fallen arch that was causing a lot of issues. So I've invested, and my God, has it been an investment, in really good shoes that serve my body well, and I've gotten rid of everything else. I got rid of all the cute, little flats and the heels and the this and that, and now I have a variety of shoes that have good arch support, that are comfortable, that don't kill my back, that support my feet, and that has made an impeccable difference in my life. And that's such a small example of how curating your life with things that serve you is really, it really can make a huge difference.
I think when you curate, it builds upon your life. It makes it better.
Yes.
To do things with a little bit more intention and thought.
Yes.
And it works so much better. You're like, well, I love a ton of stuff. Mm-hmm. A ton of stuff is not going to serve you. It just kind of creates clutter in your life.
Yeah.
I go through my closet probably every season, and I Marie Kondo it. Like, I like it, I don't. And I tell myself, if for some reason this ever comes back in style, or I wish I didn't get rid of it, I just go back and buy another version of it because it's back in style or whatever. But I try not to hold on to anything in my closet anymore for the sake of, oh my goodness, what if I never have clothes again? No, I mean, chances are I will have enough to cover my body. It's okay if I get rid of it. Nothing is like a keepsake from a long lost family member or anything like that. So it will be okay.
Yeah. So what's something that you feel like you are a collector versus a curator?
Most anything from Target. But let me think about it. I am for sure a collector of purses. Mm-hmm. I've gotten more into curating it to make sure the things that I purchase, because they are more expensive, that they serve a purpose. They work in my life, and they're functional. So we had this discussion this weekend, our newfound love for a fanny pack.
Yeah.
I do not wear them as a fanny pack. I wear it as like a crossbody sling bag. But those are my new obsessions. So I have curated my handbag collection to kind of, like, that's pretty much all I'm putting into it right now. Or those, because, okay, I'll get stuff to serve, like, this may be a little bit nicer of a situation. But if I don't really see myself using it in everyday life, I don't need it.
Yeah. So I think that speaks to functionality over, just, I want this because it's trendy, or because it,
because I saw it on
pretty.
Something.
Yeah. It serves a purpose. And I think when you get really purposeful about anything in your life, it's hard to be purposeful about everything all the time, but I think it's really important to, like, I've been trying to baby steps. I posted this week about my declutter checklist that I share with clients. And literally, I'm like, you know what? I need to print this myself and just every day go find one of these, find one of the items and go, okay, today I'm going to focus on my whole closet and I'm going to organize it. I'm going to get rid of the junk. And just, if you just break it into baby steps like that, it's so much simpler. But
yeah, I think that and the curating of the things, the foods that you put in your body, you said putting in more water. I think I know certain health things that I've battled with as far as like digestion goes and stuff like that. And like, if this doesn't serve me well,
right,
then why do I keep punishing myself by like it's good in the moment, not good always. And that doesn't include cookies. They've never upset my digestive system. They've just, you know, maybe they're not always the best.
Yeah.
But like just making sure I am making more intentional decisions that they have better impacts on the future and not just immediate gratification, which I mean, one of those things I want to curate a little bit more is delayed gratification, that I don't need to be just happy in the moment. Sometimes it's a long-term journey.
Yeah.
And we build on those kind of things, baby steps.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Over the last few months, as I've really been focusing on, I think for the first time, and part of this is because some of the medication I'm on really does, I think, affect how my brain thinks about food now. But just I love this topic so much because it can apply to so many different areas,
Absolutely.
Really every area of your life. But that's so true. Like curating the foods that are going to really benefit your body. And something that I've learned is, I take like a weekly injectable. Whenever I take it on shot day, I'm very conscious about, okay, how much protein am I getting today? How do I increase the protein? Because I know it's going to serve my body well. It makes the symptoms and the side effects a lot easier, a lot better. And so it's like it's such a simple concept to apply of like, how are you going to curate your life today? But it can apply to quite literally anything you want it to apply to, which is it's such a great topic. So I would love to know, like in your home, in your, whatever, what's something that like you came across and you're like, I love that so much. It is like one of those items that just bring joy and you're like, I got to have it.
Things that I purchased that are in my house.
Yeah.
Our sofa. My husband has a love-hate relationship with it, but it was bought on accident. Not on accident. There was an accident with the previous sofa, and that accident was Dylan. And so she wrote on the previous sofa, and then we couldn't get it out. Professional cleaner, nothing. We couldn't get it out. So we bought another sofa. We were like, hey, we want a sectional sofa. We wanted it to be nice and comfy. So it is literally the most comfy, plush, lived in sectional, and I am obsessed with it. Even though the pillows don't sit up all perky and all this, I don't regret the purchase. If we ever move, it's going to go into another place in the house, or I can stay in my living room and he'll just have to live with it. But that's one of those things that, we were very intentional when we looked for it. I was like, hey, I need to go sit on the sofas and try it out. I can't buy it sight unseen and test it out. And I am not a tall person whatsoever. So my feet get to dangle off the bottom of the sofa, but literally I can scoot all the way back and my feet are just like sitting propped up, at the end. And but that's why we have movie nights. That's where we watch TV in the evenings before we go get in the bed. Like that sofa has memories. And that was one of the best purchases, my personal opinion. My husband is probably going to disagree because literally those pillows upset him all the time. Yeah. But I think that was one of the best purchases. What about you?
That's so funny. We have a very similar couch situation. We love it. We both love our couch. It was also extremely intentional. We sat on so many couches. It has a very slouchy type of look to it, which is not really my aesthetic style.
Yeah.
But you want it to be functional.
Right.
And it's so much more. It is an item that brings joy. And people, I'm telling you, we get so many compliments on like that couch. But that's definitely, I echo that. That's one of our items that it's like we went out and it was just like, okay, this brings joy. Even though it might not look exactly how I want it to, my God, when you lay on it, you're like, this is heaven. So most recently, when we were in Disney, I'm not really like the biggest souvenir person. I occasionally will buy a t-shirt if I like love it, but I'm like, we've been to Disney the last few years, so I'm like, I don't really need anything. I came across in Toy Story Land Ham from Toy Story, and his back is like cut off and he's got a succulent planter in it. And it was one of those things, I think my mother-in-law was giggling at me because she came with us, and I'm like, I have to have that. Like, I have to have it. That was the only souvenir I bought. But it's one of those things that I think it's important when you see those items that are like, that is like pure joy.
Yes.
Recognize that and treat yourself, you know.
It's on a bad day, you can look at Ham.
Yeah.
And then you can be like, look how cute.
Yeah. Well, because last year, I didn't really buy a whole lot last year either. I bought like a little Christmas tree ornament because we kind of have started that of like, okay, what's something that you can buy on every trip? And it's you can typically find a Christmas tree ornament. And so we've been doing that. But this year when I saw that, I'm like, oh, I just knew I had to have it. And so, yeah, that's definitely one of the more recent things that I'm like, okay, had to have it, gotta, it brought so much joy. And every time I look at it here lately, he's sitting on my sink window seal.
Aw.
And I might be, scrubbing dishes or getting things ready. And I just look at that and I'm like, man, that was such a great trip. Like, we made a lot of good memories and, so I think that that's really, really important, that it's one of those joy bringing items and not just like filler. Because I think we live a life that's full of filler stuff.
Full of t-shirts.
Full of t-shirts and full of just like, anything and everything that just, you buy it or whatever, and it becomes clutter. And I think our lives easily get cluttered. So it's, in a season of, we're in this first quarter of the new year, right? Yes. And I think that that's a really important season that people do kind of think, okay, we're past Christmas, we're past the holidays. People are ready to kind of get back in their normal routine. They're working out more, they're eating healthier. So it's like, I think it's easy to apply these principles and really, really just curate your life to serve you better in every aspect.
So we'd definitely love to hear how you guys are choosing to curate your lives. What things are you taking out with the clutter? What things are you keeping in because they bring you joy or they are functional to your life? So make sure you send us a comment on Instagram and let us know, or send us a message on YouTube if you're watching the video.
So lastly, we have a little something that we'd like to start incorporating, our Strong Mother of the Week award.
Yay.
So we wanted to just kind of take a little moment out of each podcast and recognize somebody. So we welcome your nominations. This week we chose our dear friend Estrella Gallegos.
Woo!
She is such an amazing friend. She's an amazing mama. She's in my accountability group and in coaching, and we kind of met her, I guess, last summer. When was that? Last summer.
In person. We've been friends via social media for probably over a year, but we got to meet her in person, and our first lunch outing was pretty epic.
It was epic. But she's like one of those people in my life that, like, she will give you advice. She's so freaking smart, first off, but she will give you advice on literally anything. So, and she's got a podcast if you are interested in following Estrella, Social Agent Navigators, for all of you real estate agents that listen to us. But we love you, Estrella. We hope that you are having a great week, and we welcome your nomination. So we hope to get some great mama nominations soon.
And we will see you guys next Tuesday. And just in case you miss us before then, check us out on Instagram. We're always there.